Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome to this lesson. Previously I did a video called How to Write Music. Now this video is called How to Stop Writer's Block. A few little details from how to write music will be in this video, but that is because with both videos the goal is to get to writing good music, right? So when you have writer's block, it's a block from stopping you from getting over to where you want to be, which in this case is music. And whichever music you pick, you will regard as good music. That's why you choose it. Now, the thing that stops writer's block is learning your keys, right? Not writing random stuff. Now, the reason why major and minor keys exist, right? There's 12 major keys, 12 minor keys. Right, and all of those keys are just different groups of notes that someone who is very smart put together because they realize that when you use this music, like that's it, the keys are music, they are notes that work well together. You write music, that's how you write music. When you write without keys, you are just writing random stuff, and if you actually get to something that you think is acceptable, that sounds good, that sounds like music, it will sound like tonal stuff, and tonal stuff means stuff that you get when you write in keys. Now, I'm going to give you a few analogies, which is a surefire way to sort of drive this message home about what I'm saying about keys. Because a lot of people say, like, oh, you don't need to learn theory, you don't need to learn your keys, you can just write by ear. Which literally every time, unless you have a phobia of musical keys, and you can make a joke about that, but literally it's just people being lazy, right? That's all it is. So they try to type whatever they want to me to try and justify to themselves that learning what I'm trying to tell you isn't necessary, right? Now, if you make a cake, or you want to make a cake, right, and you try and do that without instructions, like directions, you have so many different possibilities where you could get the thing that you want, so a cake made how it should be, but the odds are stacked against you when there's so many times where you can fail and you just come out with a mess because you don't have the directions to actually get what it is that you want, right? That's what it's like not using a key, right? A key will literally just give you the notes. It will give you good music, and you can just explore it to pick whatever you like best, right? Now, if you write by ear, okay, so you don't use a key. If you actually manage to come up with something, so say you're writing random stuff and then you actually manage to find something that sounds good, right? That will be like you actually managing to make this cake without the instructions, right? So you've managed to come up with some good stuff without the key, and that is the argument, that you can come up with stuff without like any sort of help or direction. Now, if you actually manage in this analogy to make that cake, right, that is what that cake would have been if you just had the instructions. So why not just use the instructions anyway? So in this case, use the key. If that's what your music is going to end up as, then you might as well just use the key, right? If you, with the analogy, right, if you went through like 10 separate attempts to try and come out with this cake, because for some reason you just don't want to use this information that tells you how to get there, right? And then you actually on the 10th time actually manage to come out with a version of a cake that is justifiable. It's like when you cook dinner, it doesn't matter if it's a bit overcooked or a bit undercooked, if it's edible. There's a few different, there's a small range where any of these attempts, right, are valid, okay? It's the same when you're trying to write without a key, and you might be able to come up with a few things that sound good even without the keys, just like, aha, Chris, I don't need these keys, right? But if you actually managed to come out with this product where it was good, as I say, that's just what you would have got to if you had just used the instructions, if you just used the help, the information, right? Another analogy is, right, imagine you are on top of a mountain, right, and it is pitch black and you need to get to a certain location, right? Let's say that's where you're getting picked up from to get off of this mountain, right? If you use keys, that is like having a map to take you, it is a path that takes you to where you want to be. So in this case, you want to get like a good piece of material and it is somewhere, and using a key will take you there, right? Now, if you don't use keys, you are literally, like in this analogy, you are just walking around in the dark. Now the thing is, you may also, like when you're wandering around, accidentally step on a piece of this path that would be on these instructions, in this case using a key. Like, so you have a key across the fretboard, so like this would be like your path, this is what takes you to where you want to be, right? So if you play anything on here, it will sound like musical sense, it will sound like decent material at least, right? So if you're in this analogy and you are wandering around, you may get to where you want to be, but that is one spot out of every other spot that you could be standing on this mountain, right? And you may, right, end up, like when you're walking around, you may, let's say if you stand on any part of this path when you are wandering around trying to find where you are in the dark, like when you're trying to find your way to this like end point, this desired location, when you're wandering around, let's say if you accidentally step on a piece of this path whilst you're wandering around, let's say that path triggers like a light to show that you have actually stood on a piece of this path, right? As soon as you walk off it, the light dims again, right? And you're just in the dark again. But my point is, you may come across something that is like, so when you're like writing without keys, you may come across something that sounds tonal, right? That is sort of on the way to where you're trying to get to. So as I say in this analogy, you may be wandering around, you're nowhere near the path, you might come across the path, right? And then it lights up, you stepped on a bit of it, right? And then you carried on walking, whatever, and it dims down again, right? So you may come across a bit of something that gives you a hint of where you are trying to get to. But if you are just wandering around aimlessly, again, it's like you have the one spot you're trying to get to, you have the path that's going to take you, but if you're just wandering around, you just have, in this case of music, all these notes. You might end up coming across something that sounds kind of tonal, but you don't even have a clue if it is something that's going to help you or not, because you don't even know it's there. Right, so you have all the spots that sound like nothing, all the shit. You have something that might help you, but again, it's just in amongst everything else that's just a load of shit that you're just trying to decipher to come up with this one thing, which is the location that you're trying to get to, right? But in music, if you just had the key, that would be like having a map that would show you the path, and you just walk along it constantly going, this is the right direction. So in this case of music, you're going, this is good stuff, but I reckon if I keep going, I might actually find something better. Or you'll find a lot of stuff and you'll be able to pick and choose, right, which is the best thing. And whenever you decide what is the best thing, when you're writing in a key, you might come across like a lot of stuff, and then you pick the one thing that's, yes, this is what I want to use as this chorus that I'm writing for this song that's going to be amazing, right? That is you at that location in the mountain, right? But if you are just writing without a key, then you're literally just in the dark, just lost. And that's what it is genuinely like when you're just using a fretboard with 12 notes and you're just using everything. The point of a key is to narrow down, so it's just the good stuff, and that's it. It tells you, here is the good shit, right? It's yours. Explore it. right? The keys can't tell you what is the best thing, right? So it can't tell you what is this, like which piece of material is this end goal, because music is just a matter of opinion. You could write 5 stuff in key, like 5 little bits of like 5 sections, and you could say, oh, I think this is the best piece of material, and I could say this is the best, right? So that's why, you know, like a key can show you all the good stuff, but it can't tell you which is the best, because that is down to you. But so like that is the negative, but that's the whole point of writing music. You write and you write music, you decide what you like and you enjoy it. But if you're just writing random stuff, you don't really have any guidance at all. So those are my thoughts, right? And the thing is, people say that they don't want to learn keys because, you know, well, they might admit it or not, but I'm saying that it's because they can't be asked to do it, they're too lazy. All you need to know is, right, these are the major, this is the major scale spelling, this is the minor scale spelling, right? You pick any note on your guitar and, right, you go up 2 notes. A T means a tone, an S means a semitone. A tone means go up 2 notes, and S means go up 1 note. You pick a note. So let's take, like, I don't know, right, we're gonna pick let's say A. It's like you go up a tone, you get B, you go up another tone, you get C sharp, you go up an S, you get a D. Right, so you work out all the notes in your key, and eventually, right, this is A major, what I was just working out, right? And you have your key, and then you just write music doing it. And in my lesson, How to Write Music, I said then you plot it on a fretboard, and then you can use it. It's as easy as that. I just taught you all that stuff in like what, 30 seconds? Right, so I mean, okay, I didn't say about the minor one, but it's the same thing. You just go like, this is E minor. You start on an E if you want to work out E minor. You go up a T, E up 2 notes is F sharp. Look, it's an F sharp. You go up an S, 1 note, G, right? F sharp up 1 note is a G. You just keep going until you have all the notes, and you end up back at your root note. Right, so that's how you know you're done, and you'll know that you're done because you've went through all of these. That's the point. This is how you spell all the minor keys. If you wrote out every single one of these notes and worked out every minor key using this, and this is how you'd work out all the major ones. And that is all you need to know, literally, for the rest of your life, to write music in key, and it is that easy. There you go. Right, so that is gonna tell you how to write music. And the thing is, people who are like freelance composers, who, like, someone will bring them up and be like, oh dude, I need you to write this song for me, like for TV, I'll give you 500 quid, right? And they say that you only have 2 days to do it. People will be like, oh, but what if I get writer's block? Or, oh, I don't know that I can do that in 2 days. It usually takes me like a month to write a song, or however long it takes, because I know I'm going to struggle. I have to go through all this stuff. Like, who says I can just write a song like that in that amount of time? The thing is, the keys is music that works together. So that's how you write music. You write music when you literally just play these notes, right, that are in the key. So that is how, you know, people like Hans Zimmer, the guy who writes soundtracks for like Batman and stuff like that, or I mean Inception, I think he did it, but well, someone did it, right? You just write music. You write, the keys is music, and you use the music. You just use it and put your name on it. That's how you get over writer's block, because if you're literally just doing random stuff, you can't rely on coincidences. So when you're playing stuff and then you're like playing all day and you're like, oh, I haven't managed to come up with anything. This is when you're not writing in a key, right? You haven't managed to come up with anything because you haven't coincidentally like stepped on something that is good, right? Forget whether I say, oh, when you do come up with something good, it's probably going to be something from a key anyway. What you're trying to do is you're trying to find something good, and when you are trying to write without a key, you are literally just hoping that you get lucky, right? Again, it's like going back to that cake thing. If you're not using instructions, you're just hoping. You haven't got a clue. For some reason, you didn't choose to use the instructions. So you're just putting in random amount of stuff. Like in this analogy, you would be putting in random amount of stuff, mixing it together, cooking it for some random amount of time, and hoping it comes out as what you want it to be, right? Why would you just rely on luck to give you what you want? So that's why people who are actual composers can do stuff as a job, because they use the world of music. That is the realm of music, keys. And they write stuff. They have no problem. They just start writing because it's there. You just play the key and it's music. That's it. And I'll give you, this is the last thing, I'll give you an example with me. Like, I've been doing like my master's degree for a year, and I've got to write an album. So I don't have unlimited time to write like 10 tracks. Now, I would just sit in bed and I would practice a key over the fretboard, and then I would start playing in the key and trying to find the best stuff that I could find and then use it as the song. Okay, now I had a song like sort of half written. I put it away because it was too difficult, and then I came back to it like at the start of April this year, right? And I laid in bed. This is just another example of me writing tunes for this album, but I'm just picking this specific example, and this happens every time, right? I say I'm going to write this song. Okay, I'm going to pick this song up again and I'm going to write it, right? And boom, I did it, right? I stayed in bed like 6 hours a day with my guitar, going across everything that I could find to pick out the best stuff, and wrote the piece. I never for a second thought that I was going to get stuck, or that, oh, I need to take a break because I'm not actually managing to come up with anything for like this past hour, or oh, I haven't come up with anything this whole day, maybe I'm not going to be able to write this piece for the moment, or for the next few days, or for the next week. I needed to get this song done to then move on to the next one, then the next one, right? So I wrote the song. You just do it, right? The key was F minor, the notes were there, you write the music. It only stops getting done if you choose not to do it, right? But if you're not using a key, it's not always going to be 100% that you can come up with something. But when you are, music keeps going if you keep working at it, because the music's there. As I say, it's only if you put the guitar down and go get pissed that it stops happening, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to do this tune, and I did the tune. And it's like the tune before that, I started practicing the key, it was F sharp minor, and I wrote the song. You know, it's like the one that was in F minor, so not the one I literally just said, the one before that, right, where I was saying I had half of it done, blah blah blah, right? Like, I would spend like there was one time when I spent like 2 days on this one bit, not because I couldn't come up with anything, but it's because I was going through every possible combination of like notes that I was trying out. So yes, some parts may take longer than others, some parts may take a long time, but that's nothing to do with the fact that you can't come up with anything. It's because you are literally past this point. You're no longer this amateur, you're a professional writer who is going through this process that I'm saying, where keys can't give you the best thing because you have to pick it, it's your opinion. So I was going through this, you know, it's like having this writer's block, is this child play. No professional writer has this issue because they have the keys. That is just the thing, that is how you get past it, right? I'm sure I've said this. And then the next thing, the actual challenge of songwriting, it shouldn't be the writer's block or even being able to come up with anything. It's to do with, that should be your only challenge, right? Where you are just having to find the best material, right? You have criteria to write a really good song for this TV show, this new video game, right? You have a name for yourself, and you have to come up with the best stuff that you can. So that's the challenge, right? So you go exploring in a key, right? And then you try and unearth all this material, you try it out so you know how it sounds. That's what composing is. You were given the material. Writing is being given it, and you sift through it to find the best stuff. Not you have to find the material, and then once you've found something, this is writing without a key, that's all you can get, because you're just trying to find it. Whereas people writing keys, they start with it, and they have everything, and then they pick and choose. That is the job of composing a song, right? Not just trying to find anything to start with and end off. You know, it's like you're supposed to see all this music and then you write music. That is it. So yeah, I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to comment on whatever. And that's just what I have to say. You know, this is just my experience, and this is what, you know, I genuinely believe in this, and I say it to you so I can help you. So I don't believe that this isn't going to help, or that this is a load of nonsense. So yeah, so take care guys, all the best, and thank you very much. God bless.